Welcome back, my friends. I will take you for another walk, and I want to talk a little bit about going off the grid. And I don't mean to push to you that you should try it out, but we're living in a world where consumerism and overconsumption, overspending, overeating, overcomplaining, overworrying is normalized, while people who have discovered the real key to happiness, which is simplicity, don't have nothing to do with this disease of modern society, which is being lost and chasing happiness in consumerism, right? In seeking approval, seeking validation, and doing what somebody said to you you should do because maybe it will make you happier. So I've been off the grid many times, and I love that. I've sold my car and bought a camper van to experience this more often, because I've noticed when you become more self-sufficient and here and there you really disconnect from luxury of having water, of having electricity, of having internet, you find out what truly matters. You recognize that your mind gets clear when you disconnect from everything we think we need and we reconnect with what we truly need, which is a warm light from the sun, enjoyment in the nature, and a good company. That's what I found out. Then I've noticed, well, it's a bit more complex. It's not just, being under the sun with a good company. I also like a depth of thinking. I'm kind of like a philosopher. So I need an outlet for expression. So I've noticed, okay, if I go off the grid here and there, I reconnect with my passions. I reconnect with the spirit that moves through me. So we all are plugged to this universal stream that calls you into action, but most people ignore it because they're too distracted with noises. A spirit calls you to action, but you are in distraction, right? The word distraction actually means action away from where you want to go. If you don't know where you want to go, well, guess what? You will be pulled in all kinds of directions. So I want to remind you in this message today to look up for the sunset more often. We're just at the time of sunset, somewhere here. You don't see it most probably, but more often, if possible, disconnect from screens, from internet, from luxury, and reconnect with simplicity. Sometimes people go crazy thinking, how will I survive without a shower? How will I survive without an internet? How will I survive without food and shelter? Well, that's what going off the grid teaches you. To learn to handle yourself in all kinds of situations. Well, when you're traveling like that, sometimes you're surprised because you run out of water, so you need to find maybe a spring water, which is a great thing, right? Sometimes you need to explore and you recognize, well, you can depend on planes all the time because sometimes planes fail because our intellect fails us, right? We don't know everything. So going off the grid teaches you that you don't know everything. So stop acting like you know everything, because those who act like they know everything, they learn nothing, and those who learn nothing, they suffer. Why? Because your mind is not expanding. It's a sad place to be in. So going off the grid is a beautiful thing. You can try it out here and there, and it will teach you that you can handle anything, but firstly, you need to be shaken a little bit. Firstly, life will break you down a little bit to test you how much you can adapt. Because then when you will get back to society, you will notice you're a different person. In Stoic philosophy, there's many philosophers, like Seneca, for example, who was frequently practicing sleeping on the floor just to humble himself. Even having a bed is a luxury. Having, a soft, warm place to sleep on is a great luxury. Most of us don't appreciate it, so we want more, right? Most people don't even appreciate. They have a roof over their heads, so they don't appreciate it. They want more. They say, I don't have this amount of money, so I can't be happy. I don't have this perfect relationship, so I can't be happy. But you have maybe feet to stand on. You have 2 hands to hug someone, right? And you don't appreciate that. So just right now we are on a road trip without electricity, without water. We are chasing spring water, which is something very incredible. You should try. Sometimes we're in the forest and we find, a stream of water that's very, very clean and very nourishing, and you can drink it, and it's beautiful. In cities we've forgotten how it feels when you actually step into a stream of water and drink it. So we are here, as many of you know, I mentioned, we are mountain biking, we are exploring incredible places. But also we are having a great time because, sometimes you get surprised. Especially what's the most surprising is to experience a real connection with other human beings, If you live in a more modern country, you may feel that what's around you is normal, like the world is going crazy, or you may think everybody is on their screens and people are quite weird sometimes. But then you go into some other places. That's why they say that the best book you can buy is Passport, right? You will learn the most from traveling. You notice that, there are places where people are living very simple lives, and you can learn so much from them. Like, we're right now somewhere in the Czech Republic at some very ancient places. People are so simple here. You can meet a stranger and they will say hi to you, they will smile, they will invite you to their places, or they're quite kind. And you recognize, not everywhere people are like that. Like, the world right now is in a quite interesting place, right? So when you go off the grid here and there, you recognize that not everything on this world is going crazy. There are actually very kind people from whom you can learn kindness. And there are beautiful places in nature from which you can learn how nature is functioning. Again, if you study society in this time, you may notice most people have lost the basic fundamental principles of life, which are how to be self-sufficient, how to self-regulate, how to plant your own food, how to breathe properly, how to express yourself through art, through body movement, through activities and sports, how to treat animals and how not to treat animals, and things like that. Many people have forgotten about this basic, let's say, nature's ethics, right? But then you go and disconnect from the internet, for example, and you recognize, well, actually I have enough work to do on myself. Like when you turn off your phone, you recognize your mind is running quite wildly, right? And you have enough work to do on yourself. So when you start taking care of yourself, you notice, well, when I take care of myself, the whole world around me takes care of itself as well. And what hasn't taken care of itself, well, it's my job to see what to do with that. And suddenly, the sources of problems are not outside of you anymore. They are within you. That's why it's so powerful to disconnect from everything that's going on in your life here and there and to reconnect with what truly matters. So I love this. I love this part of my life. These times when we go to travel, when we disconnect from everything. And I notice I don't need to be plugged to this matrix of the internet. Like right now, everything is happening on the internet. I don't need to be plugged into it all the time, and I've noticed I feel so much more creative when I actually disconnect. So try it out. Like, when was the last time you've disconnected from everything online and you've actually went outside and connect with some real people and help someone and maybe explored some places? When was the last time you've been in awe because you've seen a beautiful place in nature? You've seen an animal you haven't seen before. When was the last time you've experienced a reverence for this masterpiece? When was the last time you've experienced an open heart because someone who hasn't owed you anything opened doors for you and said to you that you are welcome there? When was the last time that happened to you? Because those are natural things. We've forgotten. We've forgotten about that. And we don't need to live like it's not real. We don't need to live like this kind of generosity and kindness is not real. That it's not okay. Kindness is a virtue. But only courageous people know how to carry it. Can you find a courage within your heart to be kind? Well, sometimes you must disconnect from all the unkind people to notice why kindness matters. Because if you don't, you will start to feel like you're in a competition. And the problem with feeling like you're in a competition is that everyone becomes your enemy. And if everyone becomes your enemy, well, once again, it's a hard place to live in, right? Everyone is there to hurt you. It's not real, but it's your story. Don't trust that story. It's a sign you need some disconnection. There's many other signs, like feeling burnout, feeling depressed, feeling sad, not having any passions, not finding anything to be grateful for. Those are all the signs you need to disconnect a little bit and reconnect with nature. It's a hard thing to do, especially for people who are addicted to technology, right? it may be you. I'm not judging you, my friend. I think I was addicted to many of these things as well. Like I was scrolling on the Instagram and I couldn't stop. Like, what will be the next interesting thing? But how much time we waste there? You know, when Facebook came out and it was like everyone was talking, have you seen my feed? Have you seen my feed? Have you checked my feed? And then we've started wondering why it's called a feed, right? Because it's feeding your mind. And then we start wondering, well, how much time we allow ourselves to be fed by the nonsense. And the answer is too much time. Too much time we allow ourselves to be fed by the nonsense. So then we wonder why we feel so chaotically, why we feel so anxious. I don't feel anxious at all right now. I actually feel quite good about myself. I actually feel quite connected. I feel grateful. I feel like some animals are flying around me. Look at that, it's a bug. I guess he likes this energy right now. So, you start to feel like you've been reborn. And that's why I'm inviting you. You don't need to try it, but it's an invitation. Go off the grid here and there. And call yourself into an adventure, right? In the video 7.7, I was talking about love for an adventure. Many people love adventure, love for freedom, love for exploration. If you bring some discipline into it, some focus, like traveling but still doing your work, or I don't know, just going outside more frequently and still carrying with you a journaling block and writing down your ideas, writing down your poetry, doing your thing. You will notice actually nature inspires you. We're all inspired by great people, great minds. If you want to be inspired in your craft, be inspired by the greatest artist, which is this universe. Right? You haven't created it, me neither, but something did. And I love to be inspired by that force. I just am. When I see a beautiful flower, when I see a bug flying around my head, and sometimes I see a bird I haven't seen before, I feel inspired by that. That's why you see in my painting so many different animals. I love that. I love the forms and colors and all of that. And it all happens spontaneously when you're having a good time. And you can't have a good time if you're stressed, if you're anxious and worries how tomorrow will turn out to be. Sometimes you just need to let go and allow tomorrow to come, right? Another ancient saying goes, the past is history, tomorrow is mystery, but today is a gift. That's why it's called a present, right? So never forget that when you feel like your mind is about to blow because of feeling overwhelmed, you just need disconnection from all the chaos in your world and reconnection with simplicity that most people have forgotten. The common sense and basic nature's principles that will teach you to become more self-sufficient, to learn to self-regulate. It's not the end of the world if you're feeling like your world is ending. It's a process often of metamorphosis you're going through. And sometimes you need to go to places where that process is supported. That's why nature designed butterflies. We haven't designed them. Most people don't even know how to transform their pain into the process. Nature knows how to do it. Look at the process of caterpillar going into a butterfly. It doesn't go through that process with painkillers. It doesn't go through that process with distraction on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok. It goes through that process by facing with the pain and using the force that's created by tension to move with intention into a higher order that is designed for them by the Spirit. It is a deep process of transformation that can only be done by you. No one will help you when you are facing with your own demons. But deep inside you already know that you can handle it. And when the help will be needed, the help will come. When the student is ready, the teacher will come. But you're the one that will need to make steps forward. And sometimes going off the grid will remind you of how powerful, how interesting, and how creative you can be when it comes to the times in your life where you actually don't know what to do. So the power is within you and all answers are there as well. My friends, I'm sending you lots of love, blessings and power. Thanks to everyone for supporting my art in our store, AttractPassion.com. You're all truly appreciated. In Etsy store, I draw my passion as well. And thanks to everyone for joining our Patreon community for more exclusive content. I appreciate you all, and till next time, one love.